Hello, my name is Ian Karmel. I'm a comedian, podcaster, TV writer, and person who received Sublime's self-titled album for, I think it was Hanukkah, alongside an album by Usher from my dad in like 1996. And one of them stuck. You can guess which one. and I am here with the man himself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Euripides, and I'm a mechanic. Hold on, let me go get Bud. I'm Bud Gaugh from Sublime. I play drums.
Oh man, dude! I just want to say off top, this is usually a peer-to-peer thing. This is not a peer-to-peer thing at all. I am just a huge fan of Sublime. I have been since the second I listened to the music for the first time, and this is just such a thrill for me, dude. So thank you so much for having me and letting me be a part of this.
Absolutely, thank you.
I guess I just want to start off with just super basic. When you were recording this album, what was your favorite song? You're getting ready to put it out. Do you have a favorite song from the album itself?
Oh, there's so many good nuggets on this album that it's really hard to pin one down. I mean, there was so many different elements. Honestly, it's like the dub kind of stuff from work that we do, and then the rock from Under My Voodoo. It was just blistering guitar, smoke, and all that. Just those were fun. One particular one, Caress Me Down. I think that's probably one of my more favorite ones, because I was just messing around on the electronic drums. Brad and Eric were taking a beer break and smoking and stuff. And so I was messing around with building up some different sound effects for my hybrid kit. So I had the full electric kit set up over here, and then I had my acoustic kit with some pads on it. And so I'm just messing around with all these different sound effects and just kind of making a beat from all these different sounds. And Brad walked in and was like, "Hey, wait, do that again. Keep on playing that. Don't stop." And so that was just kind of the magic that happened there at the studio with Paul Leary and at Willie's place. It was just amazing, how we would just like start jamming a little bit, and then it would just turn into one of these songs, So it was just so much fun.
Caress Me Down has got to be my favorite song about hand jobs. I mean, like, of all in the pantheon of great songs about hand jobs, that's got to be. I remember, because my dad, like, when I got Sublime, this was when, I wasn't of driving age yet, but I was of definitely like put this CD on age. And I'd be driving places with my dad, and that song would come on, and I would just be like frozen in terror, because it was a song. It was fucking terrified. I'd be sitting there like, oh my God. And like, we would just sit there not looking at each other for like the duration of the song. And then the next one would come on and it'd be like back to normal.
Right.
How did you feel before you were putting that song? I mean, you'd like on like previous albums and stuff like that, Sublime had like sampled like porn sound effects and shit like that. Did you feel any type of way? I know you guys had stopped playing like Date Rape Live and like stuff like that. What was the impetus behind not playing that anymore? I guess this question has came to me. Like, were you tired of the song? Were you tired of the message of it, or what?
So Date Rape was one of the first songs that we had created and started playing like back in 88, 89. And so when it hit K-Rock, it was an old song, I mean, it was, 7-8 years old already. And so, we just kind of phased it out of our set. And we never really wrote set lists. Every once in a while we would, but we just kind of just riffed on it, And so there was like probably like a dozen songs that would play in our repertoire, at different times and stuff. And so we just kind of, there was other songs that we had to play live that were newer. And so, the older songs kind of got phased out. And so now all of a sudden, Date Rape's getting spun 60 times a week on K-Rock, and everyone wants to hear it. That's the song on the radio. And we were just like, you know? So
Yeah.
actually it was put into contracts that we had to play the song on stage. Otherwise we wouldn't get paid. And I mean, sometimes we'd forget, you know, they would ask us to play it and we wouldn't play it. So they're like, no, it's going in the contract now. You're going to play this song and you're not getting paid. So
You got to go back out, like do an encore, like
yeah,
the band.
exactly.
Was that hard for you? I mean, like with coming from like you guys played a ton of live shows in Southern California and stuff like that. And I know, I mean, was it hard for you to like be obligated to play one song like in a set list with? I mean, you guys have so many different influences, and like from listening to the live music and stuff like that, you would play songs different ways. Was it hard? Did it kind of like fuck up your flow and it was like, all right, now we have to do Date Rape, like, and then like go into it? Or would you find creative ways to play it?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of probably would have been better if they told us that we couldn't play it, you know, like NWA, F the Police, you know. Something like that. It'd be like, we're playing this song for sure. Forget about it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. No, we would like hold out, you know, to the very end, you know, like looking over off to the side and seeing the promoter just going, oh, is he going to play it? Are they going to play it? You know, it's just like we'd come out and do it as the encore sometimes. But yeah, no, it was fun.
Going back to Caress Me Down. Now, also, there's a fucking What I Got opens with a Richard Pryor sample. It's really, really quiet. It's that, oh, fuck, you can't even sing. And then Caress Me Down. You have like a lot. How important is humor to like your music? How important was it to you to like infuse, to like, I don't know, make yourselves laugh when you were playing?
You know, I mean, that's just kind of like our thing. You know, we love humor, and we have a friend, Z-Man, who was completely addicted to porn. And so he knew like all these names of all these different artists and all their nicknames and stuff, like Ron Jeremy, he's called the Hedgehog. And then Francois Papillon, they called him the off-ramp because he's, you know, kind of had an arching dong. And so they're bronies, you know. But so it's like this kind of stuff would just crack us up because he was like an amateur stand-up kind of guy and just would just crack us up. And so, you know, we just kind of had to add some of that flair to our music as well, you know. And funny, I was talking with a fan the other day, and she was telling me how she got in trouble because she drew a big mushroom on the wall of her treehouse. Yeah. And then wrote the lyrics and pulled out my mushroom tip and went drip, drip, drip. And so she was hanging out in there, probably, you know, elementary school age, I can imagine. And her aunt came to go grab her and saw this. And so I was like, I bet your dad did backflips.
You had no idea. Because that's back when you would just buy like those fucking like magic mushroom stickers and shit like that. And it was a whole subculture.
Exactly.
She had no idea. That's so cool. Well, speaking of kids, you yourself have kids. What do your kids think about Sublime? Do they listen to it? Are there songs you wouldn't let them listen to until a certain age? Or like, what's their relationship to it?
Yeah, so I have 3 kids, ages 5 to 12. Yeah. And my daughter being the oldest one, I'd never really shared it with her. She went on tour with us when I did the Sublime with Rome thing. Yeah. And she's been to a number of concerts and such, but I never really, you know, shared that with her, you know, like right off the bat. I mean, I got my, you know, plaques on the walls, music stuff set up everywhere, you know, piano, drums, guitars and whatnot. And I'd have friends over and we'd jam, but it just was never really important to tell her exactly what I did, you know, for work. And, you know, she always saw me going to the shop and working on my cars and stuff, constantly wrenching on my rides, you know. So she just thought that. She went for a sleepover one time with one of her girlfriends, and the parents were like, oh my God, it must be so cool, like having a dad who's a celebrity. And she came back and she was like, Dad, why didn't you tell me you were famous? I didn't even know.
I mean, she was gonna find out eventually, because I mean, like Lana Del Rey has covered songs by you. Post Malone that put out like a Santeria cover and stuff like that. What did that feel like to see, like a couple of years ago, like Sublime started resonating with like not just younger people but younger artists too? What was that like for you?
That's really cool. You know, I mean, I dig it because that's what we did too. You know, and we would take songs that we liked and kind of, you know, emulate, their sound and put it into our style of music, which was, at that time was like anything goes. I mean, hip hop, reggae, funk, punk, I mean, you name it, so it was, I to get an exploration into music, and it's like it's flattering, and I just can't wait for Chris Stapleton to do one of our songs.
You can start touring stadiums after that. You just go. What? This is a question that, like, I always wondered, like, not just like with you guys, and then growing up listening to like Beastie Boys too, which I happen to think you guys, especially with like the sampling and the interpolating and everything, have like a lot in common, like with them. Now you have Spotify, you have all these musical apps, like you have the world of music at your fingertips, and like it's great in a lot of ways, but it also, everything is available, and like maybe that makes everything worth a little bit less, like something like that. So I guess my question is, how did you guys find all this music? That, like, because I got brought to so much different music, like through Sublime, whether it was like Toots and the Maytals, or like even like, I mean, Too Short, and stuff like that. I didn't know who Barrington Levy was until the Long Beach Dub All-Stars. Like, your music like led me to so many other places. How did you guys find that music whenever you had to be like at record stores or like buying tape decks for all of it? Like, what was that like?
Well, I mean, it was record stores, honestly. We would go down to, Zed Records and pick up some punk rock. We'd always talk to Frank down there. And, hey, dude, what's hot? What's the newest thing coming out? What, when is this album coming out? And so talking to the record store owners, these guys would get records coming in. They would open them up and spin them. And so you get the freshest of the fresh, so we would go down to, like, there was this one world music kind of reggae record shop, and we'd go down there and talk to Courtney and just ask him. It's like, dude, what's hot? What are they playing in Jamaica right now? And he's like, oh, you got to dig this, and so it was constantly just, oh, I really like this album, give me something kind of sounding kind of similar to this style here, and he's like, oh, you got to check this one out. So that was really, a lot of the ways. And then, I mean, we got 4 clowns in the band, me, Eric, Brad, Michael, so we're all 4 of us are going and searching and then coming back to, hey, dig this, so that's just really kind of how it was, friends, record stores. Also, Opie's mom, Opie did the Sun, by the way. Opie's mom was, she had all kinds of vinyl. And so we would go over there and spin her records, and so it was like going to the library, check shit out. So.
Yeah. Have you heard like the criticisms that people talk about Sublime, where it's like a bunch of white dudes playing reggae? Like, have you like heard people talk shit like that?
Well, they did talk shit about that with Elvis Presley too. Another white man stealing the black man's music. So
yeah, what? Like, did that like bum? I mean, it always bummed me out because it was like, fuck, I got into this kind of music because of Sublime. It wasn't like. Also, it's not like Sublime like made it huge instead of like the Wailers. You know what I mean? The Wailers also had their time, and it was like, that's how I got into this kind of music. Did you ever find that like creatively discouraging or anything like that?
I think that people that look through the lens of race and things like that and take ownership for certain types of art are, not looking at things in proper light, and I think that art should be enjoyed by all types of people and enjoy all types of people's artwork as well, So, I mean, kind of trying to pigeonhole and saying, that punk rock is strictly for, white trash, or, that's just, people are mental midgets, I think, when they look through those kinds of lenses,
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, this was like, there had to be some album that had like Gershwin, the Bel Airs, fucking Too Short, you know what I mean? And like all these reggae influences, like, and for that to get mixed up all in one place and then spit back out as like a completely brand new art form, like, what do you think it is? Like, we're nearing the 25th anniversary of the album in like just a few days here, actually. Why do you think this music has stood the test of time. I see kids wearing Sublime t-shirts still, you know what I mean? And I hear, like, when you go to a bar, you'll hear a kid like play Santeria on like whatever the electronic jukebox. Like, the music has stood the test of the time. Why do you think that is? Do you have any like awareness of that?
I think it's because our songs are, culturally relevant. I mean, the way that we would put our lives into the music, everybody can relate to it. It's sometimes it's parody, making fun of a dark situation like April 29, 1992. That was a crappy situation, but we lived it, And so it was really kind of like a pure form of artwork imitating reality. And it's like people would go through the same things that we're going through, the struggles of addiction, love and loss and all that stuff. And then, put a happy spin on it. It's like, life sucks, but it don't suck that bad. So I think, it's because I always hear from people that say, man, your music really helped us through a terrible time, and I just got to thank you for that. And, it's I think putting a positive spin on negativity, trying to keep it, in a positive light, just like HR says, PMA, that's what it's all about. So I think that, that it's people can relate to it on a daily level. And, it's just really songs about life, basically.
Yeah, I mean, What I Got almost like plays like if you just do a lyric read, it's almost like a country music song, but like through the lens of like Long Beach, California. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I've heard people say before that like country music talks about actual things and like most rock music talks about ideas, but like a lot of Sublime songs actually talk about real things. And I think you're right. I think the specificity of a lot of the lyrics and the sound, like, in comedy, they say, at least for me, it's like if you want to connect with more people, be specific, Yeah. If you talk generally about shit, like people will be like, oh, I kind of relate to the idea of anger in the abstract, I guess. But if you talk about like being mad about these bills, at home and like the shit going on with your mom and all that, people are like, oh, I may not have that exactly, but like I've got that with my brother and like all that shit. It like really makes people connect to it.
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
Do you, when you're in the studio, you're in Austin, and like you guys are churning out songs that like, I mean, songs like What I Got and Santeria are they've become like iconic. Like Santeria is a song that like now 25 years later is still, if not as resonant, still like everybody knows what it is within like a few seconds of like that guitar being played at the beginning. Are you aware of that at all when you're recording it? Like, are you like, oh shit, we got one right now? Or is it one of like 16 songs that you put out and you're hoping resonates?
At the time when we're recording each song, it's just like, holy crap, this one's going to be great. You listen to it back, some of them, it's like, oh, this one's kind of a stinker, and then the different flavors on top, and then adding the vocals to it. It's like, you know what, this song is actually coming around. So it's always hard to tell right off the bat, but like Santeria was actually an instrumental that we had done on Robin the Hood. And Lincoln Highway dub. And so that became Santeria. And it was just like, that was just like a groove that was just so flowing and so emotional already, even without lyrics, that it was just waiting for Brad to put pen to paper on it,
Right. You did that a few times. You like kind of sampled yourselves or like referenced older material and like a couple times on this album. My cat is like getting into the frame. I'm sorry. Also, I mean, there were a couple other like full blown samples. I mean, Johnny Butt is like is a cover, right? Too. What?
Right. Yeah.
What? I guess. What is there? I don't know what I'm trying to ask here. Why, like, where is that urge coming from to like revisit like old music? Is it like, whether it's your own stuff or like other bands, is it like, okay, we got to take this riff from Robin the Hood. I feel like we didn't explore it completely, or is it just like, I just fucking love the way this sounds? let's put it on this album
A
too?
little bit of both. I mean, sometimes, we were always, rule number one was push that red button, always recording, because sometimes, we would improv, on stage. And so we always wanted to have a rolling kind of log of what we were doing, because sometimes, it was like, holy crap, that jam was bitching. Let's fucking do it again. Oh, dang, I can't remember. Did it go like this? No, not that one. So, we were always just recording. So yeah, revisiting some of the stuff that we had done before was just, kind of polishing up what we had tried to create in the beginning. And then like songs like Johnny Butt, that's just an homage to Secret Hate. I mean, these guys were Long Beach punk rock legends. We'd go see them at backyard parties and stuff, or at Fender's Ballroom or different clubs, Lions Club, with like the Falling Idols. Same with like Falling Idols. I mean, those guys they lived in our neighborhood, and we would see those guys play. We knew these guys. We would hang out at the different spots with them, on the street and stuff. And so, playing those songs was really just like, hey, this is where we come from. This is what we grew up on. These guys are our friends, and we really appreciate these guys, because if they could do it, then we can do it too. Yeah.
So you recorded this album. It was at Pedinale Studio in Austin, which is Willie Nelson's studio, right?
Yeah. He had bought this old country club and golf course. And turned it into a studio. And I guess he owned like all the homes all the way around it, and would let the crew live there, because he's kind of like, a big family kind of guy. So he would have all of his crew, really close. And so we it was kind of out on the outskirts of town. It really wasn't close to anything.
Yeah.
It was right there on Lake Travis. So, we'd fish in the mornings and stuff, and we'd go take the golf carts and go tear around and run to the liquor store and bring back some more beers. We rolled a couple of golf carts. We went out and hit some balls and broke some clubs.
Yeah. It'd be weird if you didn't. Did you ever run into Willie Nelson while you were there? Was he ever around?
No, he was out on the road at the time. We were really bummed that we didn't get to meet him. We had just missed him, but I can only imagine the fun we would have had then. He would have been on the album for sure.
Are there any crazy stories from that recording? I hear it got pretty nuts.
It did, yeah. We almost burned the clubhouse down, the recording studio. There was like in the locker room, the men's room, there was like a sauna and a steam room and all this. And so Eric, there was like this pony wall, it was just like kind of like a half wall. Then on the other side of the wall, there was some sconce lights, with the big halogen bulbs in them. And Eric threw his towel over the top of this pony wall, not knowing that his towel landed on the other side on top of the lights, and the lights caught the towel on fire. And luckily somebody smelled smoke before it got too bad. But yeah, we almost burned the whole studio down.
You would have met Willie Nelson then.
Well, yeah, sure. We would have met his attorneys, I'm sure.
Oh man. So sorry, my cat is like going crazy on my lap right now. All right, Eddie. So you were talking about the Long Beach music scene and stuff, and Sublime had done songs with Gwen Stefani and like some of the No Doubt people and stuff like that. What is it like seeing Gwen Stefani now, like 25 years later? Is that a trip? Like seeing that they've become like a mega icon? I think about that sometimes with like comedy, where like the people I started off with, if like one of them became like, you know what I mean, Kevin Hart, like that would trip me out a little bit. What is that like for you?
I mean, I don't think anybody deserves it more than her. She was great. She was a lot of fun to play shows. We would share shows and stuff back in the days. It was like all our fans and their fans were one and the same. They were always at either one of our shows or both. And so it turned into like, hey, if you guys get a gig and there's a spot on there for us, give us a call and we'll do the same. And so a lot of times we would just, hey, we got a gig, come on over, so, but she's always been, really a cool person to hang out with and then to work with as well. So, I'm just like super stoked for her and her success. Yeah.
Was it clear, like at the time where you're like, okay, that person's going to go on and become like a super duper?
Oh yeah, it's going to be the next Madonna. It was there was never any doubt about it. Yeah.
Awesome. Speaking of like of the 25th anniversary, I was talking about a little while ago. What can you tell me about what Travis Barker is doing with this remix album? Are you involved in that at all? And why? I also love Blink-182, and I think Travis Barker. I mean, a great drummer, great musician. But what made you want to work with him?
So we were, a little backstory on Travis first. We were out on this snowcore tour as Long Beach Dub All Stars.
Yeah.
And we were playing with Blink-182 and this band, the Aquabats from Utah. Yeah. And Travis was actually playing drums for the Aquabats. And Opie and I were sitting there on the side of the stage watching the Aquabats play. And Travis was just ripping. It's like, dude, this guy's a great drummer,
Wow, man. Yeah.
And so, he gets off the stage and we were like, dude, you should kick that guy off the drums over there for Blink. It's like, you're a way better drummer than him. And,
shit.
Blink might go a little bit farther than the Aquabats do. So, if I was you, and so we kind of gave him that nudge, I guess. Working with Travis, like we're just stoked with what he's doing, with music right now. And so we just kind of got together and just like had a little powwow, amongst ourselves, and was like, well, what do we want to do with this? And it's like, just let him do what he does, and then we'll just get like kind of a final approval and see, if we like it, we like it. We don't, and just like see what he does. Because I mean, when I was in the studio, if somebody told me that I had to do it this way, or I had, a narrower channel to work with, it wasn't fun for me. It probably wasn't putting my whole heart and essence into the music and the project at the time. So, we're just kind of like, let the artist be the artist and, see what happens. So.
Right. It served you well so far. Just keep it ethos. Another thing you do for the 25th anniversary, there's some fun promotions that are coming out. There's a Sublime beer. There's a comic with like, did people come to you with these ideas, or were you just like, what would be like the most fun things to do for it? Like, what was that process of coming up with the things you would do like around this drop?
So with the beer and our 420 line, those are things that we'd been wanting to do for years, and working with Peter from AleSmith has just really been really cool. I mean, he came and he asked us, he's like, individually asked us, Eric and Troy, myself, what kind of beer do you guys like? And we all came up with Mexican lagers, as some of our favorites, because I like dark beer. And I like cheap beer too, so it all depends, it's like if I'm sitting there, at a dinner or something like that, I'll probably go for something heavier. If I'm sitting on the beach out in the sun, I want something light, it's going to quench my thirst and be crisp, so we were talking with them and it was like, hey, I love dark beer, but it can't be real hoppy. And where it's like, I drink like a couple Sierra Nevadas or a couple IPAs and it's just like, starts burning a hole in my gut,
That's like that's your whole night. You're like, I had two of them. Now I have to like go take a nap under a heavy blanket.
Like, if we're gonna do this, I want to sell beer. It's like, I want people to enjoy a lot of it, So it's gotta be light, but it's gotta be full bodied too. And he did a few different brews and would send them to us. And I was like, the other guys, they're close enough to go and get it fresh and cool. They could just go down to the brewery there. Just send it to me warm. If I can drink it warm, then it's going to be great cold.
It's amazing cold. I still think I think beer is all context specific, man. If it's a hot day and it's a cold beer, like I don't even really care what kind it is. Like I'd rather have a cold cheap beer than a fucking, than an expensive like room temperature one.
Exactly. I mean, we go down to Baja and ice is a precious commodity down there. When we're surfing, sometimes we ran out of ice. And so we just like throw the beers, wrap them around a rock and put them in the ocean to keep them kind of cool, So, the temperature is all relative too. So.
all relative to how hot it is outside, man. If it's 70-degree ocean, that feels colder than the coldest fridge.
Yeah, yeah. And then like we got this graphic novel coming out, you know, and that was really cool too because you know Eric turned me on to underground comics when we were on the road and stuff. 'Cause you always got to keep yourself busy and you know entertained and whatnot. And so we would go to you know record stores and stuff, and we'd you know go into town, go to music shops and check out instruments and stuff. And Eric got me into underground comics, and so we were like tripping around to the comic book stores, and stuff, and you know he got Reed Fleming, the world's most dangerous milkman, and martial law, and all these other cool comic book characters, and so we were approached with the idea of doing this graphic novel, and it was like, oh. Fuck yeah! You know this is dope. I mean, we got turned into yellow people from the Simpsons group there, you know, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever because you know I'm a Simpsons fan, and it's like, wow, we've made it now. You know, I'm a Simpsons character. So you know, what a better way to commemorate you know some of the antics and because these are all stories that are real that we did on the road, and putting them into a comic book graphic novel kind of scenario is just I can't think of a better way to do it. You know?
I'm sure drinking the beer inspired a lot of the stories that show up in the graphic novel, and now you have your own beer and your own graphic novel.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Here's a question I was wondering. Why was this one the self-titled album? Why this was your third studio album? Why is this one Sublime? And were there any other names you guys had considered for it?
There was. Now there was also the inside cover with the clown drinking the beer, watching porn on the TV.
Hey, yeah.
That was actually going to be the album cover, and the name of the album was Killing It.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then, you know, Brad.
Yeah.
Passed, and so we just decided we gotta change the direction of this. So now it's the inside cover, back tattoo, self-titled.
It felt like there was a reason to be a little more like
serious
is the wrong word, but less like flippant, less like carrying in the Robin the Hood 40 Ounce to Freedom, putting cartoons on the cover. Yeah. What is it like creating after? So this is your third album. It's I mean, it's iconic. It would have been iconic even without Bradley's death and everything like that. But because I mean, the music was just so good, and it felt like music that met a moment, that it was like the larger world was like ready to hear this in a way that like maybe they weren't ready to, you know, when the first two albums dropped. What creatively, you know, you hit this like huge height, and then you knew that the band Sublime was done, like the way it had been, you know, for the first two albums and everything. What was it like for you creatively after that? Was there a creative freedom, or did you ever feel like sort of like, I mean, handcuffs, but like velvet handcuffs, but like handcuffed by your previous material, or did you feel more free after that?
Definitely felt more free. We knew like leaving the studio with just recording of the raw tracks and stuff. It was like, this album's going to be incredible. This is the sound we were trying to achieve from, you know, day one. And now we're here, we're getting, you know, from here to there, you know, perfectly seamlessly. And so it was just like, this is really like our platform, springboard, you know, and what's coming next is just going to be super in a way, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, we're on that magic carpet ride, and then carpet gets ripped out from underneath us. And so it was like, here we are now, you know, now what do we do? You know, so we grieved for a while, and then we decided to start a band with all of our friends and the Sublime family, you know, and did the Long Beach Dub All-Stars to kind of, you know, carry on from where we were going there. And then also, instead of doing something, you know, like trying to recreate Sublime, we're doing it in a respectful manner. And, you know, lo and behold, we had no idea that we had actually stepped on a few established artists' toes at the time. You know, we didn't know it wasn't cool, like borrowing little segments of people's already previously recorded material. You know, we just thought we were paying homage to them, you know, so, you know, people like Half Pint and Barrington Levy, you know, they're like, hey man, that's my song. You guys borrowed it. And that's really not that cool. Yeah. So after the fact, we got to pay back by, you know, sharing in the royalties with them, of course. But Eric and I went into the studio and recorded music with them and for them. And so it was just like, man, Brad, what a better gift to get, you know, after the fact. You know, I wish you were here to experience this. But man, we are jamming with our all-time favorite legends, you know, HR, Tippa Irie, you know, Pipes and Bread from Wailing Souls, you know, Barrington. Yeah. This just went on and on. And then now doing this dub album with the likes of Mad Professor and Dub Scientist. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. I mean, fucking dream come true doesn't even begin to describe it, you know? So, I mean, I'm getting chills up the back of my neck just talking about it right now.
I can't, those moments I've lost people who've been very close to me and creative partners, and even specifically like to heroin, to the same way that, you know, you guys lost Bradley and stuff like that. And so if you don't want to talk about this at all, please tell me to fuck off. And I completely get it, because I know how raw it can be. But like when you're in there in that studio with these people who like, you would sat around like the tape deck or the record player and you like listen to Half Pint or, you know, like listen to Barrington Levy. I mean, you must have felt like Bradley in the room with you when you were like jamming with those guys, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I still feel them all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we were so close. It's just sometimes it's almost like he's not here anymore. You know, I mean, it's just, it's weird.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Do you go back and listen to your own albums? Do you go back and listen to like the self-titled album or anything like that? Is that when you miss them, you know, is that like you throw that on and you're taken back to it?
Usually it's on my drum kit, you know, when I'm playing music, it's like I feel them around, you know. Yeah. Even when I'm just by myself, or sometimes when I'm jamming with other artists and stuff too. But I mean, I can't like not help not listening to the music, because it's all around everywhere. Like I just went to our little community pool down the road here. And it's like a golf club, you know. And so we went down to the pool, and walking in through the sports bar, and Santeria's playing, you know. And then I go sit down, I'm lounging in the chairs, and, you know, one of my kids' friend's mom's sitting there with her, you know, earbuds in, and I'm hearing it. It's like what I got, you know. It's just like, I mean, it's everywhere. You know, I walk into the mall, into like Forever 21 or something like that, picking out something for my daughter, and here comes a song, you know, driving down the road, you know.
What is that like? What is that? Is that surreal? What is it like to just hear the shit you made? You're in like your 20s, you know what I mean? And then like, here you are 25 years later, and you're like at the mall, and it's like, that shit I made, I was in the studio, I was in Texas. I thought, what if it's this fucking drum beat? And then like, you know, Eric picked up on that, Bradley picked up on that. And then to hear that like out in the world, to know you did something that is like resonating 25 years later. I mean, like, that's just got to feel amazing. That's
it's an incredible feeling.
Be aware that's a terrible question, but like, what does that feel like?
It's an incredible feeling, you know. And like, I mean, this right here, 18 million albums sold, you know. I mean, I just have to say thanks to the fans, because I mean, they're the ones that have kept us relevant. You know, yeah, we did the work in the beginning, but it's the fans who've been carrying us through. And, you know, I love each and every one of them. They're great. You know, they're insane. You know, they're the craziest people in the world. And I love that. You know, they are such fanatics about Sublime, and, you know, just all the different like fan pages and stuff. I mean, these guys know more about the band than I do. Yeah. It's fucking rad, you know. And it's just like a really good feeling. I mean, how can you not feel great about being loved by so many people, you know, that don't even really know you? It's just an incredible feeling.